Hello, we are live. And my phone is kind of crooked. It'll be okay. Alright, how's everybody doing this evening? We are at the Branson RV Park in Branson, Missouri. And I took a shower, that's why my hair is kind of dry. Or looks kind of wet. So anyway, did a little workout today, went to the grocery store, got some food. And so tonight we are going to talk about bread. And we're going to talk about eating bread while we're eating for hormone loss. But we're going to make ham and cheese sandwiches for dinner with some bread. And I'll give you some tips on trying to get the best meat quality in your local grocery store. Because if you like ham and you like cheese, then you can still eat it. We just got to eat it kind of smart. We kind of got to maneuver and skirt around things. But before I get started, I was going to tell you a funny story because I put in my description about the squirrel. So I wanted to tell you a story about Squirrel and Bread. So my friend Paula, who I know is not on social media at all. I mean, we text each other, but she's in Maryland, but we went to college together. The only way she'd find out about this story is if my friend Maggie hopped on here and maybe told Paula. But I don't know if Maggie will or not. But anyway, in college, one weekend my friend Paula and I decided to go camping. And so we packed everything in my truck and we just kind of went. Well, on our way to camp, we stopped at a grocery store and got food. And part of it was bread because my friend Paula loves bread. I mean, she'll take a whole loaf of bread. I mean, she used to be able to eat like a whole loaf of bread. You couldn't keep bread around her. She loved bread. So anyway, there was a lake where we were, and so I was cooking macaroni and cheese, I think, and then she went off to go swimming. Well, while we were getting stuff out or whatever, and she had left, there was a bag of bread like this, the bag of bread that was still in a plastic bag, and it looked like I thought she had ripped through the bag and started eating the bread. Like, really, you could have just opened the bread. So I'm so irritated. I'm like, who just rips into a loaf of bread and like doesn't even put it back? Well, she went swimming and this whole like thing is stirring in my mind while she's gone. And she comes back and I'm like, you know what, Paula? I'm like, I know you love bread, but you could have at least, and I pulled out the bread, I go, you could have at least taken the twist tie off and pulled the bread out of the bag instead of just ripping through the bag and grabbing slices of bread. And she says, I didn't take any bread. And I'm like, you took the bread. I didn't take the bread. And we got to thinking on it. And what happened was, as we looked closer to the bag, squirrels had gotten into our bag and ripped through the bread loaf and started eating slices of bread. And here I'm blaming her, and she never did it. And it was just funny. It just, then I thought I had rabies. So like, because I was eating the bread before I talked to her. And anyway, so the whole night I kept thinking, I'm going to get rabies eating after squirrels. They got into the bread. I ate up, it was just this thing. And so it kind of became like an inside joke forever about squirrels and bread. So first of all, squirrels like bread, just like we like bread. And can they get fat eating bread? I don't know. I mean, the squirrels I saw after, I guess they ate the bread looked fine to me. But anyway, when we get into bread, there's just some things I wanted to tell you about it. This is enriched white bread. This is like the cheapest of the cheapest bread. We get this bread because our dog Jake has arthritis, and so we give him his medicine for his arthritis in bread because he's a smart dog. He figures out that the aspirin is there, and he'll eat the bread and then spit out the aspirin. So we have to kind of trick him. So that's what we use this bread for. Now, in this bread, if you would flip over the ingredients, you have all kinds of stuff in this bread. And one of the first things you'll find in here is this bread has corn syrup in it, and they use that to sweeten it. High fructose corn syrup. I don't know if you knew that. But anything that's enriched like this has been really, really refined. And what I mean by refined is they've taken the original flour for the bread to make this, and they've put it through a mechanical process. Well, that mechanical process has separated things and it's altered things. Well, when those things get into our body and our hormones, that's what messes us up. That's what kind of jacks us up. So this is this is an altered substance that was meant for good, but of course man turned around and thought they could make it better, cheaper. It's all about the dollar, you know, all these things. So it may say 0 grams of trans fat per serving, but this stuff here is not what you want to put in your body if you want to eat bread. And people are going to beg to differ that whether you should eat bread or not. This is a longevity thing. So here's the thing. If you like sandwiches and you like using bread, it's like anything else. We can use it in moderation and make better decisions. I've played around with trying to make my own bread. It's hard to make a good bread. I've tried to make keto breads. I've tried to make, you know, my own breads. I'm not very good at it. I found a couple recipes that I want to try. One of them comes from the guy that made the Bulletproof coffee. He's got a Bulletproof Fat bread that I was looking at. That's 3 ingredients, so I've been wanting to try it. So in the meantime, the bread that I've been using, and Don likes to eat bread. He makes toast probably once a day or once every other day. I eat sandwiches maybe once a week. I like bread. I mean, I could sit there and dip this in avocado oil and garlic and eat it all day long too. I mean, I do like bread, but I try not to eat too much of it because you need to kind of spread things out, and you need to keep your body kind of using food and different foods all the time, because your body can get conditioned just like anything. Just like if you're a runner, a marathon runner, your body can get conditioned. You need to take breaks, divvy it up. You're not getting better at your workouts. You need to, you know, what they call shock the system. So just change it up because your body gets conditioned to certain things. So this bread I picked up today, I've been trying this bread. I like this bread. This is called Dave's Killer Bread, and it's an interesting story behind this bread. I actually read it today while I had some time, but Dave, this is a company out of Oregon, and this guy Dave's family has a bakery. Well, I think like 15 years ago, he had quite a past. He had gone to federal prison for stealing, for drugs, he was depressed, etc. Well, when he finally was able to get out, he decided to turn his life around, and he got involved with the family's business, and he came up with this line of bread. So this is his bread and his recipes, and there's different ones. This one is a non-GMO, which is a not genetically modified ingredients, and then USDA organic. But there's one thing I want you to know about this bread. This particular bread is not gluten-free. So there is gluten in this bread. They are working on trying to come up with a recipe for bread that wouldn't require gluten, but gluten is in this bread and other things. Why am I choosing this bread then? I'm choosing this bread for a few different reasons. One, I don't have an issue with gluten, although it is preferred to eat foods that don't have gluten in them, which gluten is just that non-nutritious substance that holds all these grains together. That's what gluten is. It has no nutritional value. It is a preservative. So those are things. They can mess with your hormones. Some people are very sensitive to gluten. Some people are allergic to gluten. So mind you, that's what that is. When I flipped over the ingredients on this is why I chose this bread. The very first ingredient is organic whole wheat. It's organic whole wheat. There's no high fructose syrup in it. You know, they sweeten it with some, let's see, they've got some different fruit juices that they put in here to sweeten it, but I'm not finding a bunch of processed, like the list of ingredients on this bread is like this big. The list of ingredients on this bread literally is like 2 or 3 times more of all the preservatives that are in this bread. This one is mainly consumed of seeds, natural grains, things like that. Now, like I said, I will eat a sandwich on this tonight, you know, and I believe this one has, this is like 100 calories, and their carbs are pretty low on this, and it has some of the protein in it from the grains. So, you know, this is why I'm choosing it. Are there better breads out there? Yes, I've eaten Ezekiel bread, which is an unsprouted grain bread, and I believe that is gluten-free. It's a denser bread. You find it in your freezer section. Some people like it, some people don't, but it's an alternative. You know, if you feel like you're going to have to give up sandwiches for the rest of your life, there are other things out there that you can try. And you just got to try some things to see how your body reacts to it. Now, I'm going to have 2 slices of this bread. Now, if I ate this whole thing, would that be great for me? No, it's not going to be great for me. But if I have one sandwich with 2 slices, and I did it today, and I didn't have any, if I had decided I wasn't going to have bread again until, I don't know, Saturday or something, it's fine. It's just learning how to make better decisions to eat the foods that you like and making them in a different way. So that said, I got ham. And so this ham that I got actually was behind the meat counter. If you start looking at ingredients, it's hard for us in this area to find fresh meat in a way, especially this time of year, to be able to eat. So if I'm going to get a ham or if I'm going to get a beef, I try to get stuff behind the counter because it's usually a better quality. It may cost a little more sometimes, but sometimes when you look at what you get versus the price of going over and saying you're looking at the Oscar Mayer sliced ham that they've got sitting in all kinds of juices and like weird preservatives and stuff, I mean, you can't even compare. You're going to want the good stuff and the quality stuff. So this is ham. This came from the deli section at the grocery store. And then I did get some pepper jack cheese. And like I said with cheese, if you're going to eat cheese, eat it in moderation. And if you're sensitive to dairy products, just know that. So I like real cheese. This is real cheese. This is not shredded cheese. This is not, cheese will always have an enzyme in it. But it's when you get the other stuff in the shredded where they throw all that stuff in there, and those are the preservatives that hit you, and that's the stuff that jacks up your hormones. So are we going to completely skirt around our hormones? Not necessarily, but we're going to have the upper hand on it tonight, okay? Because we're choosing a better bread, a good quality ham, and we're choosing a good cheese. So that is going to be our sandwich today. I am going to use my iron skillet and make the hot ham and cheese in here. I am going to use some unsalted butter, and then we had ran out of pink Himalayan salt, so I picked up some of that, so we'll use some of that. And that's going to be dinner tonight, just kind of a simple hot ham and cheese that we can do. I know Heather will be watching this video later, and Heather, I told you the other day that Hunt's came out with a non-GMO tomato. And guys, one thing I've learned too is not necessarily everything in the health food section is in the health food section. I found these in the regular tomato section. And we're going to talk about canned food at some point very, very soon, because most liners in these cans have a preservative in it that react with our body. And so this can says it's BPA free. I never see that on vegetable cans, but this one does. This one's a non-GMO product, which means it's not genetically modified. And I'm not seeing organic on this, but when I flip around the ingredients, you've got diced tomatoes and tomato juice, and that's it. That's it. Okay, I mean, we're not going to be perfect, but we're going to get the upper hand. And so we have the upper hand with these tomatoes, and this is going to be in my taco soup tomorrow night. So anyway, I wanted to let Heather know that I did find these, and here you go, sister. Otherwise, that is my deal on bread. We will talk more about it. We are still working on our hormone information, getting it together. I have got some stuff that I'm still trying to pull together. It just gets crazy because you got all these little projects you want to get done, and I want to get this stuff out to you, but then you got to work a job and you got other things that come up. So it just feels like it takes longer. So that's why I kind of get on here and we do stuff like this, because at some point this will all be pulled together to a functional system that is easy for you to do, and you should like it. So anyway, I hope you guys have a great night. I will get the hot ham and cheese going, and we will talk to you soon.